Allison. I'm the Programs Outreach and Youth Services Manager here at Monterey County Free Libraries. Thank you for joining me tonight for one of our special Halloween editions of Book Chat. Tonight I'm going to be chatting with you about a book I thoroughly enjoyed. It's called Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. And I read this a couple years ago and it was just so good. And for some reason I didn't do a book chat about it at the time and it has stayed with me, so I thought it was time to correct that. So this book came out in 2020, and around the time that it came out, I was also watching the Netflix series, The Haunting of Hill House. And this book and that series have very similar themes and were really good paired together. So if you haven't seen The Haunting of Hill House on Netflix, I'd recommend checking that out alongside reading this book, and of course reading the original Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. So I'm going to read you the inside flap summary of this book so that you can get a feel for what the action is like. Bells that ring themselves, record players that turn on and play music in empty rooms, ghosts that climb out of wardrobes. Maggie Holt doesn't believe in these things, even though they are the details of the story that made her family famous. 25 years ago, she and her parents, Ewan and Jess, moved into Bainbury Hall, a rambling Victorian estate in the Vermont woods. They spent 20 days there before fleeing in the dead of night, an ordeal Ewan later recounted in a horror memoir, House of Horrors. His tale of ghostly happenings and encounters with malevolent spirits became a worldwide phenomenon, rivaling the Amityville Horror in popularity and skepticism. Maggie has lived her life in the shadow of her father's book, so when she inherits Bainbury Hall after his death, she returns to renovate the house to prepare it for sale. However, her homecoming is anything but warm. People from the past chronicled in House of Horrors lurk in the shadows, and locals aren't thrilled that their small town has been made infamous thanks to Maggie's father. Even more unnerving is Bainbury Hall itself, a place filled with relics from another era that hint at a history of dark deeds. As Maggie experiences strange occurrences straight out of Ewan's book, she starts to wonder if what he wrote was more fact than fiction. Alternating between Maggie's uneasy homecoming and chapters from her father's book, Home Before Dark is the story of a house with long-buried secrets and a woman's quest to uncover them, even if the truth is far more terrifying than any haunting. So some of the similarities between this and The Haunting of Hill House are that this book goes back and forth between perspectives. So as the summary said, it goes back between chapters from her father's book, which detail what was happening in the past, and then Maggie's present day while she's renovating the house. And of course, you're not sure when you're reading the book chapters if her father is a reliable narrator, if he's a character that you should trust, and you're not getting any glimpses into Maggie's perspective of the past, you're just getting the glimpses of what her father has written in his book. And that's very similar in Haunting of Hill House as well, where one of the siblings has written a book about their brief stay in this haunted house. So I wouldn't really be surprised if the author, Riley Sager, was inspired by the original work written by Shirley Jackson, if that's where he drew inspiration for this book. But there were a lot of similarities that didn't detract from my enjoyment of this new text and discovering this. I am usually pretty good at predicting twists in books, and I did not see what was coming in this one, and it took some really great turns towards the end, so I found that really engaging, and I really enjoyed Riley Sager's style of writing in this book. Riley Sager has written a number of thriller, horror, suspense novels, and I've actually read them all with the exception of his latest that just came out a month or so ago. And I have to say that I think that this is the best one. In my opinion, the quality of the books kind of goes down as you read more of them, and I'm not sure if that's just because I was getting used to his writing style and thus was better able to predict his twists and turns. But the book that came out before his most recent one, which I think was called Survive the Night, I thought was honestly terrible, and I would not recommend reading that. So if you are going to pick up any book by this author, I would 1000% recommend this one. It was the best of his books, and as I said, I've read them all at this point, except for his most recent, which I will read soon and do a book chat on most likely. So if you're looking for a great book to pair with watching a Netflix series during this spooky season, I would recommend you rush out and check out Home Before Dark. Very good horror, suspense, thriller book. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any Halloween books that you would like to recommend, please let me know in the comments below. I'm always looking for new horror, thriller, mystery books to read. It is my favorite genre, and I will see you all next time. Thank you so much.